Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and I've dared to venture back onto the test server, but I'm not going to play. I'm just going to show off some of the HD tanks that are making it into the next 9.8 patch that will be rolling out probably within the next few weeks. This is the M10 Wolverine. Just panning around, taking a look at it. This is with the gun it probably should have in the game as opposed to 76mm, but it generally looks okay. It's a little bit plain. They didn't really go the whole 9 yards with adding things to the sides and the back, which, as you can see when you compare it to the War Thunder Wolverine, it generally just doesn't look as special. Next, we'll take a look at the SU-85. I mean, it's a T34. Nothing too grandiose or special about it, but generally it didn't turn out too badly. One thing I wish above the gun mantlet, I wish the that little piece of metal cast a little bit better of a shadow onto the barrel. The Leopard 1 also got the HD treatment. Unfortunately, this is with the SD client, so the textures are a little bit blurry. I can't actually set them to full. And I don't know how to download the HD client. I suppose that will be a checkbox or something with the next launcher. But the Leopard looks good. Again, they didn't really add a heck of a lot of things to it. Like, I wish it was a little bit more special looking. Next, the M26 Pershing got the update. We're going to put on some different camouflage because the white looks especially bad when it's not higher resolution. And this is a new camo that they put in. It looks okay. It's got some brown and green and some black mixture into the paint. And we have the Super Pershing next. And if you pay close attention to the front plate, you can see that there's layered plates in between that go higher and will provide hopefully better armor characteristics to the frontal plate of the Super Pershing. And the tracks don't quite sag as much as I would like. I think they would look cool if there was a little bit more slack on them. And the mantlet behind the gun shield looks like it's a little bit higher, but it's kind of hard to tell. From some of what I've heard, the upper and lower plates work better, and the mantlet and extra armor plating around the front of the turret supposedly has made the tank much better armored. I will be doing some tests when it does go live to see what it actually is doing, but next on down the line, we've got the M48A1, a tank that I don't have and will be probably a fairly long time before I actually get, simply because I don't have the M46. I'm too poor to buy it. And if I'm too poor to buy that, I'm too poor to buy the M48A1. Generally, I think this one turned out better than the other ones. It looks, I don't know, it just looks better put together. It doesn't look as plain. This tank I also think got a little bit taller and maybe a little bit wider. And we're looking on down the list. We got the Jumbo. The Jumbo also got the HD treatment. But again, unfortunately, it looks like they just kind of like didn't really go the whole, 25 miles to make it look unique and special. The sides are very flat. They're very plain. They didn't add any cool deckling. They didn't add any cool things hanging off the back or the sides or tracks or plates or nothing to really, spruce it up. So I think this and the Wolverine are actually a bit of a step back, especially when you look at a tank they did right, like the Fury. It's kind of disappointing that they seem to, their art director doesn't really seem to have the ability to keep the consistency on the detailing that some tanks have and other tanks don't have. Like, I know the Fury is a premium tank, but you get what you get. And taking a look at the Cromwell, just panning around it, I think this one turned out pretty good, and that's generally because the Cromwell's a little bit, it's got like boxes and rivets, and it's got more detail put into it. And when you get a tank like the Jumbo, which is more of a, there's less things on it, on the sides, and it just makes it look more plain, like they spent less time on it. And people do notice those kind of things. Next, we're just going to pan over to the T32, which also got the HD treatment. And generally, I think the turret got a little bit wider. You also got some tracks tacked to the sides, which probably 99% sure that they won't provide any extra armor to that portion of the tank, because it's not an IS-3. You wouldn't actually get spaced armor. You only get that with a certain nation's tanks. Panning around the back and the sides and the front, you can see the barrels, like nice and upgraded. You can see that the turrets may be a little bit wider. You can see a little bit more of the cheeks maybe, but I think the T32, it looks good. I think they could have added a little spruced it up. I think the American tanks just need to be spruced up a little bit more. And the IS-3 looks like they shined it up. It's a lot more shiny than a lot of the other tanks. I'm not entirely sure why, but it's got a lot more spec. You can see the specular highlights rolling over the paint on the tank. And you can see the barrel is a little bit different. The BL9, which is what I currently have on it, it looks like they changed the end of the barrel. And looking at it closer, you can see that there's like little extractor thingies in there, and the rifling. You got tracks on the front that actually do provide spaced armor. I think it adds 20 more to the Shuka nose on the IS-3. And generally, I think the IS-3 turned out pretty good. I don't think its armor got appreciably worse. I think the pike nose is about the same. But I don't really have the means to stop and compare and measure if the angle got any bit worse or not. And lastly, we got the 5120, which also got the HD treatment. And again, it feels like it's a little bit taller, maybe a little bit wider than it was before, but don't quote me on that. I'm not entirely sure if it was. And the 5120, again, it doesn't look like they really tried to spruce it up. It looks very plain Jane. Didn't really see any new camos in there for it either. Still got a really long barrel. Yeah, there's not too much else really to say about this patch. They have made some changes to numerous amounts of maps, and they're taken Cormorant out of the rotation and spruced up a few things. They've added some dynamic platoon things, which I think the platoon thing is probably one of the cooler things that I do like. I don't really particularly care about the domination mode that they're putting in. It just looks like noob chaos mode, and I'm not going to be playing it. Like, other people can try it and play it, and it might be fun to give it a shot, like a little bit. But I think what it's going to do is cannibalize people out of random games. It's going to cannibalize people out of team battles, and it's going to be a short. I don't think it's going to be a very long mode that's going to be sticking around for very long. So that's probably going to be it for this video. Not really too much else to say about the patch. It's just a bunch of HD tanks and some map changes and a few things about the platoons, domination mode, and a few knick-knacky other changes that really didn't make the game a whole lot different. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. But before I completely go, I'd like to just pop in here and show a little bit what I'm talking about in regards to the detailing that goes in the tanks. Like, when you look at the Wolverine in War Thunder, you can see there's like track links on the side. You can see there's pouches and stuff on the side of the turret. There's a machine gun on top. If you rotate around to the back, there's like bags and sleeping gear and a bunch of really cool stuff. You can see the lighting is more direct in this particular shot. You can see the light like casting off from the bolts and everything. I just generally think that there's a better job done with the way the tanks look when they go to HD in War Thunder, and that's a personal thing. And I think that World of Tanks just needs to spend a little bit more time, or get a different art director that's a little bit more consistent with how they're displaying and making their tanks look special.